Everyone, happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I am super excited to share with you these 3 fun projects using the press-on stamp set from the new August-December mini catalog. Now this stamp set went right to the top of my list. I am a huge coffee lover, and so seeing this stamp set in my catalog just sent it right to the top. It has awesome images for the coffee lover and some really fun sentiments, fun sort of punny sentiments too. So let me show you where you find this in the catalog. It's way at the back. So if you don't make it all the way through the catalog, you're going to miss this one. It's way at the back on page 68. It retails for just $30 here in Canada, which is a great deal. And as I said, features lots of fun images that are great to color and then some awesome sentiments as well. Now, before we get going here, let me just pull my video up on my iPad and we'll see if anyone is out there joining me today. Let's see who's here. All right, Deb is here. Hey, Deb, glad you could join me. So far, it's just you and me, so we're going to have a little private stamping party. Is that okay with you? All right. Oh, there's Sue too. So we've got the Calgary connection happening. All right, so we are going to make these 3 fun projects. We're going to start with this masculine one. I'm always excited when I find stamp sets that work for masculine cards, because masculine cards can be a challenge, right? I've heard from so many people that they struggle to make cards for the men in their lives. So this is for the man who's a coffee lover. Okay, so I am featuring today lots of the different patterns from the Plaid Tidings DSP pack. Now this has quickly become my go-to DSP. It is also from the August-December mini catalog and features literally a plaid for every occasion. So I've used 2 different plaid patterns here for this card. So we're going to start doing our stamping and a little bit of coloring. So I'm going to start, I just have a piece, this was actually just a scrap of Whisper White cardstock. It's 2 3/4 inches wide, and I think it's 4 1/4 long, but the length really doesn't matter too much because we're going to cut off a bunch of it. It was really just the width that I needed. So I'm going to ink up my coffee cup with some Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And I'm going to stamp it sort of towards the left side on my little scrap of white here. Then I have a little mask that I've created with a Post-it note. So all I did is I stamped the coffee cup image on a Post-it note and I cut out just sort of the body of the cup. I didn't worry about the handle because don't really need to worry about that. So I'm going to cover up my stamped image here with my mask. And then I'm going to come in with a little coffee bean image. And this mask is going to allow me to stamp my little coffee beans and create a little bit of a grounding feature. Grounding simply means our cup is not going to look like it's floating. It's going to be anchored on the bottom of our cardstock here. Okay, and then when we take off the mask, you'll see that our cup is kind of sitting on the coffee beans. Okay, so that's just a little tip for you. Masking is an easy technique, but it gives you a really cool, sort of creates a scene and helps you get your layering and your perspective when you're stamping. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit of coloring. I'm gonna color my mug using the Smoky Slate combo. So I'm gonna start with a layer of light. So I'm just gonna come in with the light Smoky Slate. And I'm going to lay that down. Oh, I went right under the line there. That was not so good. Oh well. Can't always be perfect, can we? All right, and then I'm going to come in with a little bit of the dark and just add it sort of around the edges where the cup would be curved, just to give it a bit of shadow there. And then I'm going to come back in with my light and blend that out. This is light, yeah. Oh, I had to double check there. It looked really dark there for a minute. Okay, and then I'm going to carry on and add a little bit of light to the bottom of my mug here. And again, we'll start with a layer of light. And then we're going to come in with our dark. And this time I'm actually going to shadow along the bottom as well because, well, there will be a shadow along the bottom as it's sitting on the countertop. So then we're going to again blend that out. the light. Okay, and then the last little bit on the mug with the gray is to do the handle. So I'm just going to come in here and fill that in. And I'm just going to add a bit of shadow right where the handle kind of attaches to the mug. And then I'll blend that out as well. Okay, so super simple, easy image to color. Aside from the fact that I went out of the line there, but we're not going to tell anybody. And then to color sort of the band on the mug, I'm going to use my Real Red combo. So I'm going to start with the light. I'm going to put down a layer of the light Real Red. Just fill in this whole band here. I love black and gray and white and red for masculine cards. It's a great sort of, well, it's really a gender neutral color combo, but I think it works really well for man cards. Okay, so there's my first layer. And then we're going to add in a bit of shadow again along the edges where the cup is going to be curved. So I'm going to come in with my dark and just add that shadowing. And then back with my light and blend that out. And again, I'm working from one side to the center because I do want that center to be a little bit lighter. There we go. Okay, done. Easy, right? All right, to color my little coffee beans, I'm just going to use the dark smoky slate. And I'm just going to color each little bean with the dark. I'm not going to worry about shading these at all. Again, this is just to ground our, or ground, ha, pardon the pun, get it, coffee grounds, ha, ha, ha. This is just to ground our image so it's not floating. Wow. All right, so we're going to just add a couple more. I'm not going to color all of these because we are going to cut off part of this, so I'm not going to worry about those last couple. But we'll fill these in. And then we're going to layer it. One more. Okay, I may come back and color the rest of those after, but we shall see. All right. So then we are going to layer it. Now this is a stitched basic black rectangle. It's cut with a stitched rectangle dies. And the reason that I cut my white this size was so that it would layer with a nice even border. I'm not keeping in mind I'm going to cut part of that off onto my stitched rectangle. Sometimes I design projects around scraps that are laying on my desk. So I had this sitting on my desk and I'm like, okay, I need to use this. So I kind of built my project around this die cut that was sitting on my desk. It's amazing what inspires us sometimes. Oh, I almost forgot to stamp my sentiment. Can't forget that. That's the best part. Because copy is always a good idea, right? Right, Donna? My friend Donna is watching. We have been friends since first year university. And we are both coffee lovers. So I knew she would like this card. So I'm inking up my stamp in the Memento Black. And then I'm adding my sentiment to my stamped image. Now I can layer this on my black die cut. So we'll just add a little bit of adhesive here. And we're going to center this on here. And again, I used the liquid glue just so that I could wiggle this around and get it centered the way I wanted it. Okay, so we're going to just set that aside and let it dry for a second. And we're going to work on our background. So I mentioned I used two different patterns from the Plaid Tidings DSP pack. It's got some awesome fall patterns on the back. Like, oh, like, does that remind you of just a cozy flannel shirt? I love it. I love this DSP pack. You're going to see this different patterns on every project we're going to make today. So I have here, this is my background panel. It's cut to 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And then this is cut to 2 inches by 4 inches. Okay, so it is going to layer about 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom. I just kind of used these stripes on the plaid there as a guide. So we'll add a little bit of adhesive. And we're going to pop that on right about there. Just get that centered. Okay, and then we're ready to, no, we're not. We need to add our twine almost got ahead of myself again. All right, so here, this is actually from the Playful Pets ribbon combo pack, and it's this fun black and white baker's twine. So to add this to my project, I'm gonna just press a glue dot onto the back of my DSP. I'm gonna press one end of my twine into that glue dot, and then I'm going to wrap it twice. And I'm going to trim off the excess, and then I'm going to secure the other end to the other side of my DSP here. Just like that. Okay, and then I have my twine on there. Now I'm ready to add my sentiment. So when I add this, I'm going to be cutting part of it off. So I'm going to kind of eyeball how much I want. I want to make sure I'm not cutting off my stamped sentiment there. And then I'm going to come in with my mini trimmer. And I'm going to kind of eyeball how much I want to cut off. I think when I did my original, it was like 2 7/8-ish. So that looks about right. I'm going to get all of my sentiment. So I'm going to just chop that. Okay. And you'll see I still need to color a couple of little coffee beans there. So we're going to go back and add a little color to those, because we don't want albino coffee beans. So I'll add that. Okay, and then we're going to add this to the front of our DSP panel, but we're going to add some dimensionals and give it a little bit of a pop. Now, important, when you're dealing with this twine, you want to make sure you put your dimensionals along the top edge and the bottom edge. That's going to allow it to lie flat and not bump over the twine. Okay, so just a little tip when you're using dimensionals, especially with some of the coarser twine that we carry. Just want to make sure that you allow for that. So we'll add our dimensionals, and then we're going to pop this on. Right about there looks good. So I'm lining the edge up so it's flush with that right edge of my DSP. Okay, and then that is going to get layered on a basic black cardstock panel. So this is cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And I'm going to use a little bit of tape for this. So this is our Stampin' Seal. Best adhesive ever. Even better than Fast Fuse was. Love this stuff. So we're going to layer this. And we're going to have just a narrow little 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. Assuming I have measured properly. Not bad. That one's a little bit wider, but we can live with that. All right, so then we have our card base. This is a real red cardstock base. It's 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So we're going to fold that in half along our score line. And we're going to add a little bit more adhesive to the back of our black cardstock panel this time. And we're going to pop this on to our card base again with just a 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. Okay, almost there. We're going to add a bow. So here is your first bow tying lesson for today. This is my twine bow. So we're going to make a loop. I am right-handed, so I'm holding my loop in my right hand, and I have a little tail sort of hanging off to the left. I'm going to take that tail. I'm holding that loop. Okay, I haven't made a knot at all. I'm just holding. I've pinched a loop. I'm going to take that tail, wrap it around, and bring it through. So I'm not actually tying a knot to start, okay? And that is going to allow, if I tied a knot, did my bunny ears bow like I do with my ribbon, I would have a really bulky knot here in the middle. And with twine, that's not such a good look, okay? So we're gonna press the knot of our bow into a glue dot. I'm almost out of glue dots here. I think I need to see a large adhesive order in my very near future. So we're going to press that on right where it joins onto the card. And then the last little touch is to add some of these fun star embellishments. Now these are also from the holiday catalog. And I just thought it would be kind of fun. You know how you rate your coffee? 3 stars, 4 stars, whatever. So this is a 3-star cup of coffee, which is pretty darn good if you ask me. So I'm just going to add 3 of these guys. And using my take your pick, that is the easiest way to pick up these little embellishments. So we're just going to add 3 little stars across the band on the mug there like that. And there we go. Isn't that fun? So fun. Now on the inside, I'll just show you what I did. I'm not going to take the time to do it, but I stamped another sentiment. Gotta love the little puns, and then some more coffee beans. Okay, so there is project number 1 done. Do you guys like that one? I hope you like it. I'm just gonna get some things out of the way here. And we're gonna move on to number 2. Don't need these anymore, so we'll get them. Whoopsie, turn out the lights. Come on, come back, light. Oh, wrong color. There we go. Sorry about that. That's the problem with having a touch lamp on your desk. The slightest little nudge and it turns off on you. All right, let's get this out of the way. I'm making room because I need to use my Stamparatus for the next card. So I'm going to show you the card, first of all, this one here, and then I'm going to show you how to do it. Now, the Stamparatus is a stamp positioning tool. So I've used this a few times. I don't use it a ton in my videos because I find it a little bit cumbersome and I have a very small area to work in when I'm shooting my videos. But this is the card we're going to make. So I'm going to show you how to get this repeatedly stamped background. And you see how that's perfectly lined up? Like perfectly spaced, perfectly lined up. It's not because I'm a genius stamper. It's because the Stamparatus makes it really easy. So Stamparatus has these plates. They are removable, okay? And we are going to add our cardstock to the platform, and then we have these magnets. Now these are super strong rare earth magnets. Now you'll notice that I've got them wrapped in washi tape. That is so that it makes them a little less strong, and so I can actually move them, because without the tape on, they get stuck in place so hard it's very difficult to move them. The other challenge is that if they bang together and stick together, it's almost impossible to get them apart. All right, so I'm going to place my cardstock right in this, well, maybe not quite in the corner. I think we're going to come down a little bit, down and out. So I'm going to place my cardstock right about there. Doesn't really matter. These grid paper sheets allow you to kind of play around with your placement. And then I'm going to take my stamp. This is this stamp here. I'm going to take it off the block. And I'm going to place it right where I want my first image to be. So I'm just going to kind of park it right about there. I want it right near the top. And I'm going to close my plate, and that's going to pick the stamp up. Okay, so now it's exactly where I need it to be. And then I'm going to take and ink up my stamp with some Bumblebee ink. So this is a piece of Bumblebee cardstock cut to 4 by 5¼ inches. So I'm doing tone on tone stamping. So I'm going to go ahead and close my plate and press, and voila. Okay, now here's the cool part. To stamp my next set, I don't have to move my cardstock. I'm simply going to take my plate out, move the hinge down 1, and re-ink, and close it and stamp. And there's my next image. Isn't that magical? Okay, same thing, up, down 1, ink it up, close and stamp. Look at that. I love it. Now this technique is called hinge step stamping. And in the annual catalog, you may have noticed a couple of notations on some stamp sets that have a hinge step notation. That is referring to this technique. Okay. Now, if I go to do my last image, my magnet's going to be in the way. So I'm going to just pick this up carefully, making sure I don't move my cardstock. I'm going to move my magnet over here. And then again, I'm going to slide this down 1. Ink up my cups, and one last stamped image. Look at that. Is that not perfection? Gotta love it. Love it, love it. All right, so let's get this guy out of here. We are done with our Stamparatus, so I'm gonna set it out of the way. So it's out of the way. And we are gonna add some DSP to this background panel. So again, I'm using the same DSP pack. This is that Plaid Tidings DSP. This is cut to 1.5, yes, 1.5 by 5¼ So we're gonna adhere that to the left side of our panel. So we're gonna add just a little bit of adhesive. Hi Linda, how are you doing? Louise, you forget to do the hinge step? It's a great technique, especially for if you're wanting to create stamped backgrounds and have an image that you want to line up. It's great for that. All right, so there is my DSP. Now I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon. So here we have some Bumblebee in color ribbon. This is my very favorite in color ribbon ever. I love all the colors, and it's just a really soft, lovely weave. Super easy to tie. So I'm going to add a glue dot and wrap the end of my ribbon there. And then we're gonna do the same thing down at the bottom. So we have a nice little ribbon border on our DSP. Again, just to add some texture. And I'm all about the bows. I like me some bows. All right. So now we are ready to adhere this to our card base. So this card base is Melon Mambo cardstock. It's 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we're gonna fold that in half along our score line. Well, I'm glad this will help you remember, Louise. Give it a shot. It's always fun to come back to techniques that we've forgotten about. Because it's like they're new again, right? When you've forgotten about something for a while, it's just like when you forget, you find stamp sets or stamping supplies that you forgot you had. It's like Christmas. All right, so there we go. There's our background. Now I'm going to show you how I did my cup. So to start, we're going to stamp our cup in black ink. So I'm just using the Memento. And this involves just a little bit of fussy cutting. It's not a tough one to fussy cut. So on this little scrap, I'm going to stamp my cup, okay? And then, before I put that stamp away, I have a little scrap of that same Plaid DSP. So I'm going to stamp the cup again, but I really only need that band, okay? So I'm going to give myself a little band out of the same Plaid paper. So first things first, we're going to cut out our cup here. So we'll just quickly, this is a super easy one to cut out. It's basically all straight cuts. You don't have to get really fancy with this one. So this is a great one for beginner fussy cutters or people who feel like they are not good at fussy cutting, because it's really just straight lines. It's not a tough one. It's a good one to learn on. And then we're going to come in here and then straight down here. And then across the bottom. Really quick and easy to cut. Okay, and then I'm going to take and only cut out the band on my cut. Now when I'm cutting this time, I'm going to take care to cut on the inside edge of each line. And that is just going to ensure that this paper sort of fits into the stamped image. I'll show you what I mean in a sec. So I'm not stamping the outside edge of the line, cutting. I'm cutting along the inside edge, okay? And then I can go ahead and glue this on, and you see how it just sort of fits inside the stamped image, okay? All right, so we're gonna add just a little touch of glue there. And we're gonna adhere that to our cup and just get that centered right where we want it. Okay, and then I have a little strip here. So this is just a strip of Whisper White cardstock. It's 3/4 of an inch wide by, I don't know how long. It was just a scrap. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment in the black. So the sentiment is, all you need is confidence and lots of coffee. That is my motto for this school year. Confidence that I'm not going to get sick, and lots of coffee because I will have a lot of sleepless nights. Now I'm testing my image here because I mounted this a little bit crooked, okay? So if I actually look at my sticker here, that is what I get. Can you see how crooked that is? So I need to adjust my positioning a little bit so that it's a little bit crooked to me, but when I stamp it, it's straight. Okay, so that's just a little tip. Always double check to make sure that your stamps are mounted straight. Now we are going to cut one end of this into a banner, and we are going to use the awesome Pick a Banner punch. This is from the holiday catalog as well. So it's going to allow us to punch that end. Now I'm going to cut this a little bit closer because I want my banner to be a little bit shorter. Otherwise my sentiment won't quite fit on my card. Okay, and then we're going to trim a little bit off this end as well. Okay, so that is ready to go. Now in my little bag of goodies here, I have a couple more bits. So here I have 2 die cut circles. This one's cut from Bumblebee, this one's cut from Melon Mambo, and this one I have embossed using the all wrapped up, warmly wrapped, whatever those embossing folders are called. I can't remember them right now. I will put them in the description afterwards. And that's just going to give us a nice texture to go behind our cup. So we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of glue here and pop this on. just like that. And then our cup is going to go on with our sentiment kind of peeking out from behind it. So what I did is I actually glued my cup on first with some dimensionals. So we'll just add 3. I know that's not very many, as for me, that's not very many. And we're going to center that on our circle just like that. And then this one is going to get tucked in here. Now I'm going to need to trim off some more so that I can tuck it in like that. Okay, but first we're going to glue this one on. So this is going to get centered on our ribbon. Okay, so I'm kind of looking at the little spout on the cup and lining that up. So this is going to get glued flat. So we're just going to take a little bit of seal. Come on. And we're going to glue that right about there. And then we're going to add a couple of dimensionals to the back of our little banner here. And we're going to just nestle that in just behind our cup. And I just want to make sure that the end of my banner is staying on the card, right? I don't want it to kind of stick out past the end of the card. Okay, so that's on like that. 2 more little things to finish as soon as I find it. Oh, here we go. Here's a cute little heart that I punched using the dog builder punch. And I'm going to use a mini dimensional on the back of that. We're just going to pop that right on there. And I'm actually going to use my take your pick just to position this because I want to get it centered on my little band here on my cup. So I'm just going to use that to position it, press it into place. And then we're going to add just a little bit of sparkle because why not? We're going to add a little shimmer with some Wink of Stella to our heart. And then the last touch is a little bow. So here's a ribbon bow for you. Okay, this is the ribbon to learn to tie bows with. It is so forgiving. So I'm going to pinch my ribbon between my thumb and index finger on each hand. I'm keeping my ribbon flat. So I have 2 loops, crossing my left loop over the right, bringing it around and through, and pulling it tight. And there is my bow. Cute, cute bow. So the trick again when you are tying bows is to take the time to play with the bow to get it to look the way you want it, okay? Most bows do not look great when you first tie them. You have to tease the bow out of the ribbon. I would agree, Deb, everything is better with Wink. That is going on, that and something about dimensionals. Those are both going on my tombstone. All right, so we're gonna press the knot of our bow into a glue dot and then just tuck that in right there. Okay, and inside here I added some more stamped coffee cups along the bottom and then another fun little sentiment. Now this little heart is actually from the stamp set. It is stamped in Melon Mambo ink, but I stamped it off once just so that it wouldn't obscure my sentiments. Okay, so that is card number 2 done and done. We'll set that aside. Again, we're gonna make some space because we got one more card to show you, and it's a fun one. It's actually not a card, it's a gift card holder. All right, get rid of our garbage here. Okay, so this is my favorite project that I've made in a while. So many of you will be familiar with the Joy Fold card. Okay, it opens like this. Okay, that's just a standard Joy Fold. So that's the same principle as a Joy Fold, but I flipped it to portrait position and I've turned it into a gift card holder on the inside. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Of course, I have to show you. I had to include Tim's gift card on the inside because, well, you know. All right, so we're going to start with our card base. So this is just a standard card base, okay? So it's 4 1/4 by 11 inches. And I've got my one score line in the middle at 5 1/2. All I did was I added an extra score line at 8 1/2, okay? So scored at 5 1/2 and 8 1/2. That's it, okay? So we're gonna fold in half, first of all, along the score line in the middle. Okay, and then we're gonna fold the smaller score line up. Okay, and that is gonna form our pocket. You see how that works? Now, before we do anything, we're gonna add our DSP panel to the inside, and then I'm gonna show you, we're gonna do a fancy cut here to get a little bit of a decorative edge on our pocket. So this is a piece of, you guessed it, it's the same pattern that we used on the last card, but the reverse side. Love this pink and blue. So we are going to go ahead and glue this. Now this is cut to 4 1/4 by 2 1/2. 4 1/4 by 2 1/2. Okay, so it's the same size as this panel here. So we're going to glue that on there. So we'll add just a little bit of liquid glue. Make sure that gets well adhered. So we're going to center that on there. We want to make sure we're not overlapping the score line. We just want to make sure it's well centered. Okay, so far so good. All right, now we're going to bring in the new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. This is available September 1st. It is the bomb, okay? I can't even tell you how much more I love this than my Big Shot, and I loved my Big Shot. Okay, this machine is light. It's lighter than the Big Shot. It is compact. Look at it. It's like the size of a toaster. It's so cute. And the sides fold down. Okay, and that gives us our platform to roll our dies and embossing folders through. So I am currently using my old Big Shot magnetic platform. Okay, if you have existing Sizzix dies and platforms, they will work in this machine. There is a new magnetic plate coming out for this machine that is self-healing that I'm so excited about. It's just not available yet. So I'm using my good old Big Shot magnetic platform. I'm using the new plates that don't look very new because I have used them a ton, and you'll notice that the plates are numbered. So on the regular platform for this thing, I'm not sure where I put it. Oh, it's over here. We have all of our sandwiches written out for us. Okay, and all of the plates are numbered. So the platform is number 1, and then depending on what you're doing, you use different numbers of plates to build your sandwich. It's so, so easy. Can't go wrong. All right, so I'm going to put one of my cutting plates down on top of my magnetic platform. And then here I have my cardstock that we're going to be cutting. Now we are going to use this die. Now this is like from a new die set as well. This is from the Celebration Labels dies, which is part of the Plaid Tidings suite. Okay, so you'll find these labels in the same suite as the Plaid Tidings DSP. So I'm going to lay my label die sideways, and I'm putting it on so that the top of my die is flush with the edge of my cardstock. Okay, now I also want to take care that I'm looking at my little bumps here and that they're going to be centered. Now this is hard to do when I'm doing it, looking at it sideways, but I'm going to trust that that is fairly well centered. And if it's not the end of the world. Now my die is jumping here a little bit because of the magnet. And then I'm going to place my second plate on top, and I'm going to actually place it so that I'm only partially covering the die. Okay, and then we're going to roll this bad boy through, and then I'm backing it up. Okay, because I really only need to cut that top edge. Now keep in mind, Stampin' Up does not sanction cutting multiple layers at once. Okay, the only reason I can get away with this is because it's cardstock and DSP. Okay, if it was 2 layers of cardstock, it wouldn't work well. Now you'll see I didn't get that quite as well centered as I would have liked, but that's okay. But that gives you that decorative edge on the top of your pocket. Okay, so fun, such an awesome machine. You are going to want to put this on your Christmas wish list, I'm telling you now. Okay, and it takes up like no space on your desk, which is why I can use it in a video and not have to move to a whole new area. All right, so here we go. We have our pocket all done. We're going to add a little bit of Seal Plus along the edges. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just add some Seal Plus right there and a little bit right there. Okay, I'm only doing it along the outside edges because this is going to form my pocket. So I'm going to fold that up, and now I have my little pocket for my gift card. Easy peasy, right? All right, next we're going to add some more DSP to the inside pocket. So this again is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive to this guy, and we're going to pop that on centered on here. Okay, so our card is starting to take shape. And then I have another piece of DSP. This is from the In Color. This is the 2019 to 21 In Color DSP pack. Okay, and this is Seaside Spray. So I have cut this to, what is this? 2 3/4 by 4. And it's going to go on that front panel just like that. So we're going to add, whoops, it's the wrong adhesive. So we're going to glue that guy right on there. Hopefully centered. Okay, and then we're going to work on our inside panel. So we're going to now work on this one. Okay, so we have sort of the foundation of our gift card holder. Now we're going to work on this panel. So again, I was inspired by some die cut stitch rectangles that I had sitting on my desk. This time this is a white one, same size as from the last card. And so I wanted to size this little flat piece based on the size of this. Okay, so if these measurements are odd, it's because I wanted it to work with this. So this is Melon Mambo cardstock. It is cut to 9 1/8, and it is scored in the middle at 4 5/8. Okay, I know they're weird measurements. 9 1/8, scored in the middle at 4 5/8. The reason that I did that is so that when I put this on, I get an equal border all the way around. Okay, again, I told you I was inspired by this. So I'm just going to fold this piece in half. Ooh, that's not very good. Did I screw this up? Yes, I did. I scored it in the wrong spot. Well, let's fix that, shall we? 4 5/8. Not. What did I do here? You know what? I can probably get away with it. Can I? No, I can't. Oh, yeah, I can. Sure, you won't tell anybody, will you? Nope, we're going to do it this way. Doesn't matter. It's good. I'm not going to cut a new piece. I just cut it 1/8 of an inch too short. All right, so we are going to go ahead and stamp our what's this called? Coffee cup. And we need our little row of coffee cups as well. So I need my block. Where's my block? So we are going to mount this now on a block instead of on the Stamparatus. And we're going to stamp a row of coffee cups sort of along the bottom. Now we're not going to stamp it right along the bottom because we need room for our sentiment. So I'm going to ink these guys up first. And I'm going to stamp them kind of, I don't know, 1/2, 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom, right across there. Okay. And then I have my A Cup of Thanks sentiment. That is going to get stamped right along the bottom edge, hopefully straight. Again, I can't really look straight at that. That's not bad. And then we have sort of this starburst image that is going to go towards the top, right about there. Okay. All right. So that is that part. Now we have some scrap. This is the same scrap that I used for the last card. We're going to stamp our cup again. And this time we're going to color it before we fussy cut it. And then also we're going to stamp another band to cut out, just like we did on the last card. I want it to go this way. So we'll cut it, stamp it there. And we're going to do a little bit of coloring. So let's start with this. I'm going to color my mug, or my cup rather, in Seaside Spray. Okay, so I'm using the light and the dark Seaside Spray. So I'm going to start with the lid. Again, just laying down a layer of the light really quickly. This is not going to be super shaded because I'm aware of how long this video is going on. And I'm sure you all have to go and get dinner ready, right? Or eat dinner. All right, so there is my layer of the light. I'm going to add some dark shadow. I'm actually going to do a whole one of the rolls there on the lid. And then I'm also going to do a little bit under the lid just to shadow that. So we're going to fill that in and blend it out. Again with the light. And I don't need to really worry about staying in the lines because I'm going to cover up this middle panel. And then again, we're going to do the same thing down here. So we're going to start with the light, fill that in. And then I'm going to come in with the dark. And again, we are going to add a bit of shadow along the bottom and the edges. And then we'll shade that out again. we go. Done and done. That was quick and easy. All right, so now we again are going to quickly cut this out. Super easy to do. Straight cuts all the way around. Let's go around this guy. And then straight down here. And in and straight down here. Easy peasy. This is one of the easiest things to fussy cut. All right, and then we're going to cut out our little band as well. And just like the last time, I'm going to cut on the inside of the line to make sure that I get that to fit really nicely on my stamped image. So we'll just trim this all the way around, just like that, and get rid of all our scrappy bits. And then this is going to layer onto our cup. So we're going to add a little bit of glue and pop that on just like that. Okay, and then we're going to add a little bit of embellishment here before we glue this onto our background. So here I have some flowers for every season twine. So this is Moonlight Mist and White and Silver, Misty Moonlight, Moonlight Mist, Moonlight Mist, and it works really well with Seaside Spray. So I'm just going to add a glue dot. I'm going to wrap this around my cup twice and just stick it back on that same glue dot so it stays put. Okay. And I want that to be a little higher up. There we go. Just along the top of the band there. Okay. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and glue this onto my background. So this is going to overlap my row of cups here. Okay. So it's going to go on like that. And add a couple of dimensionals. So 1, 2, 3. And we're going to pop that on there. And I kind of want it to be centered under my little starburst there. Okay. And then I have this cute little heart trinket. Now these are from the Playful Pets trinkets. And I'm going to tie a quick little twine bow here. And we're going to glue our bow to the little loop on the trinket. It's going to look like it's actually threaded through the trinket, but it's not. Much easier than trying to thread twine through that little tiny loop. So we're going to trim this off. And I'm going to press the knot of my bow into a glue dot. And then I'm going to take and press that right onto that loop on my trinket. Okay. Then I'm just going to take and press the whole thing onto a glue dot. And I'm going to grab my take your pick again. And we're going to place that right in the center of our cup. And it looks like we wrapped that around and tied it and fussed, and we didn't at all. Super quick and easy. Okay. So there is our focal image. All right. Now that is ready to glue onto our panel. So this is going to go on here. Okay. We're going to use this side because that's the side that's measured correctly. And where did I put my liquid glue? There it is. So we'll just add a bit of glue there. And we're going to pop this on here just like that. Okay. And then we're ready to fold this in half and we're going to glue it inside our card. So this is going to get centered on this inside panel. All right. So I'm going to use some Seal Plus because I want this to stay put. The Seal Plus is extra strong. So we want to make sure things stay exactly where we want them. And then the cool thing about this, the Plaid paper, is that it has lines and it helps you get things centered and straight, which is always a good thing. Okay, so there's that. And then our gift card is going to fold shut like that. All right, now we still have a little bit of decorating to do on the inside. So here I have another one of those stitched rectangles. I'm going to bring in my cups again. And I'm just going to stamp it just along that bottom edge, just like that. And then on that scrap, I've still got a little bit of scrap white. I want to get this stripy cup because I'm going to fussy cut that one out and use it on my sentiment, except I forgot to cut a stitch rectangle. So we're not going to do that step. Ha! I forgot to cut myself this one, but that's okay. So this is another stitched rectangle from the same die set that I used for this. Okay. And then I stamped and colored using the light Melon Mambo and the light Seaside Spray, and then cut out a little cup to add to it. Okay. This one we can, however, put on the inside of our card. So let me get this out of the way. I'm going to take and color my little heart on this cup, just so that it kind of stands out a little bit. And then we're going to add a little bit of glue. And we're going to pop this on here. Just like that. Now this is not going to have equal borders because this is the panel that I miscut. Okay. All right. That is that. Done and done. You like that? Fun and easy gift card holder. You could totally change up the plaid pattern. You could change up the color scheme. You could do a fall. You could do Christmas. You could do anything, right? I was making this intending to give it to my principal at school, who has been working like crazy all summer trying to get us ready to reopen in 3 weeks. So I'm going to send her a little thank you because she has been losing her mind. But here are all of our projects from today. I'll just bring them all back so you can see them all one more time. And before I go, just a reminder that Friday is the deadline to order my Peony Garden online class. So the class includes all the materials to make these 5 cards, okay, as well as a video, step-by-step video to put them together, and a PDF that has all the supplies and measurements. Okay, there are 3 different price points depending on how much product you want to include in your class, and all of the details can be found at the top of this page. Okay, all right, everybody, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed those projects, and I will see you on Friday. Yes, I will be stamping. No, I won't. No, I won't. I have had to reschedule a class for Friday. Never mind. I will not be back for Simple Stamping on Friday. I had to reschedule a class from Thursday. So I will see you again next Tuesday for more Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now, everyone.